So this video segment will be on finding the equation of a line given 2 points. And so we have the 2 points we're going to be using, and then over here we have the various equations we're going to use in order to solve this. So the first thing you need to be able to do is to determine the slope for this line. And so we'll call this the point x1, y1, and we'll call this x2, y2. And then we're going to take these numbers and we're going to plug them into our equation here for determining the slope. So my slope will be given by y2 minus y1, which in this case will be 14 minus 7, over x2 minus x1, which will be 8 minus 5. 14 minus 7 is 7, and 8 minus 5 is 3. So we have that our slope is going to be 7/3. Well, now that we have our slope, we're now going to come up with our equation of a line, and we're going to first find it in point-slope form. So we have our slope, and so we now need to have a point. In this case, we actually have 2 points, so we're going to just pick one of these. So we will take the point 5, 7, and we'll call this x1, we'll call this y1. So we have our slope m, our point x1, y1, and we're going to take those 3 numbers and plug them into these 3 points. And so we end up with y minus 7 equals 7/3 x minus 5. And that gives us our equation in point-slope form. So now if I want to go from this form into my slope-intercept form, we need to take this equation and we're going to solve it for y. So the first step will be to take and do our distributive property. So we get 7/3 times x, which will be 7/3 x. 7/3 times the minus 5, which will be a minus 35/3. The next step is to take the 7 and bring that over to the other side. And so the opposite of subtracting is to add. So we add 7. So we get y equals 7/3 x. Well, in order to either add or subtract fractions, we need to have a common denominator, which in this case will be 3. And so the 7 we can rewrite as 21/3. So we have a minus 35/3 plus 21/3, and we end up at a minus 14/3. And so that gives us the equation now in slope-intercept form. And lastly, we now want to go from my slope-intercept into the standard form. And so we'll take that equation and bring it up here. So first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of my fraction. So I want to get rid of these 3's that are in the denominator. And the way I can do that is by multiplying the entire thing by 3. So I multiply everything by 3. So 3 times y will be 3y. 3 times the 7/3 x. These 3's cancel, and we're left with 7x. 3 times the minus 14/3. Again, so the 3's cancel out. We get a minus 14. And then we want to take the 7x and bring it over to the other side. So we're going to subtract 7x, subtract 7x. So we get a minus 7x plus 3y equals a minus 14. And then depending on how they want the answers, you'll see sometimes in terms of my math that we use that they're going to want the number in front of the x to be a positive. And the way we can do that is to take our entire equation and multiply everything by minus 1. So we end up with 7x minus 3y is going to equal 14. And so we've gone from having 2 points. We are able to find the slope given those 2 points. And then given the slope and a point, being able to plug into our point slope form and come up with that equation. And then we were able to take this equation and change it into the slope-intercept form, which is this, and then go from the slope-intercept form into our standard form for our equation of a line, and that will conclude this lesson.